guys, it's Heather from Heather and Books, and I am here today with my December wrap-up and January book I want to read. So I'm going to do things a little bit differently because I'm a college student and I can't really say this is going to be my TBR, this is what I'm going to read. I'm going to pick one or two books that I know I want to read in the next month. And that way, if I get through those, yay, I read one or two books. And then I'm not kind of locked into like this huge stack of books I'd like to read. So we're going to start with the books I read this month. When you consider that I had Christmas Fest, followed by a week of classes, followed by finals, this is a great amount of books. I think I read about 8 books. So we're going to get started. The first book I read this month, I think, I kind of have a bad memory for what I read this month because of finals, etc., was The Last Dragon Slayer by Jasper Fforde. And I give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is a middle grade fantasy book. And this is about a character named Jennifer Strange who runs Kazam Mystical Arts Management. There's predictions of the death of the last dragon, and so the whole world starts going crazy because when dragons die, their land is opened up in a way that wasn't before, and it's just all sorts of insane and strange, and it was so much fun. I loved it so much. It's a really quick read. It's less than 300 pages, but I love it so much, and it's fabulous. And if you are okay with middle grade, or you like fantasy in any way, shape, or form, read it. The next book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, whose name I can't say, I speak French. And I read it during finals week, and it was really good. It's this interesting story that takes place in Spain, I believe. Yeah, it's Spain, and it goes to Egypt. And it's following this main character who is a shepherd, but he wants to travel. That's his life dream. And he keeps having this dream about this treasure and the pyramids. And he meets this guy who says he's a king and is basically appointed by God to guide people towards their, I forget how he puts it, basically their personal destiny. And so it's about him trying to find his personal destiny and all the trials he faces on the way, and basically about what's important in life and what's most important in life, and what's better, to feel like you have security or to chase that ultimate dream of yours. The next book I read in 2 days, it was so good, is Froy of the Exiles by Melina Marchetta. I read Finnegan of the Rock last summer, or this past summer, and I had this sitting on my shelf, and I was like, I want a big hunkin' fantasy, and this is a big hunkin' fantasy. It is about 600 pages long, and like I said, I read it in 2 days, and it was so good, and I loved it. I gave this probably about 4 out of 5 stars. There were some things that bothered me, and I'm hoping that it all gets cleared up in the 3rd book. And then I came home, and I had a bit of trouble getting to reading because I basically just read a ton of books for class, etc. So earlier I had picked up the sequel to The Last Dragon Hunter, or The Last Dragon Slayer, and that is The Song of the Quirk Beast by Jasper Fforde. Such a good book, such a fun book. This one is about magic and how the king is trying to give a competition between Kazam and a company called iMagic, and it's incredibly rigged. And so it's basically about how Jennifer manages that and tries to outwit people, and it's brilliant, and Jennifer's brilliant. Then, because my friend gave it to me for my birthday, I read Theseus and the Minotaur by Ivan Pomeau, which is a very short graphic novel depicting the Theseus and the Minotaur myth, and it is gorgeous. I love it so much, and I might take this back to school with me just to have for fun and to show to people because it is so gorgeous. I just want Neil Gaiman, actually. I think Neil Gaiman did one of these, so I just want them all. Because I've been waiting to read this book for months, literally since October. I read Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. I read the first 2 books over the summer, loved it, bought this book not when it came out because unfortunately that was like my second day of, no, it was the day before classes started that this came out. And even with unlimited time here at home, it still took me 3 or 4 days to read it because it's a hunk of a book. And I have mixed feelings. I loved how this one went. First of all, I would say for me the other books were like 4.5 to 5 out of 5 stars, and this was more of a 4 out of 5 for me. I understand this is 3 out of 6, and so we're kind of at that halfway point where we needed the catalyst, but I had a hard time getting through this, whereas I read the other 2 books like in a day each, 2 days max. And granted, they were shorter. Was it phenomenal? Yes. I loved it at the end. It broke me. I love this series. It's one of my favorite series of all time right now. And I'm trying to get all of my friends who like fantasy to read it. And then I read a book that has no title. And it is actually my brother's. So it's just printed right now. And it was such a good book. I loved it so much. And I hope that my brother goes through with it because I feel like this is definitely on par with like this. And I read them one after another, and I was frankly a bit more satisfied by this one. So, and that's not sisterly affection because my brother and I have no problem tearing each other apart on our writing. And the last book I have finished in December was Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So the first book in this bind up of the first two. It was so good. 4 out of 5 material. It was satisfying. It was wonderful. I love the main character. She's not anyone I've encountered in other books before. Not like anyone. I feel like I've probably seen the Damon character before, but I liked how he was different. I was so surprised by this. I was not expecting to love it the way I did, and I am so glad that I picked it up. And currently I am reading The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, and I am halfway through, and I'm loving it so far. And it's slow. And I don't know why it's slow, but it is. So far, really enjoying this. I will probably finish this up, hopefully before I go back to school on Saturday. And then for my one book or 2 books this month that I really want to read in January, I would love to read a Charles Dickens. Whether that is A Tale of Two Cities or Great Expectations, I don't know. And then in my boost of fun, I would love to read Midwinter Blood by Marcus Sedgwick. These are the 2 that I want to read in January. We will see if that happens. Hopefully it will. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye!